Goat drives past Wuthering Heights for the box office crown. Toy Story 5's official trailer, and so much more on this episode of Beyond the Screen. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Beyond the Screen. You have made it to segment 1 on this fine late February afternoon. My name is Ryan. I'll be your host today. And with me, as always, is the lovely Jake Holtzclaw. Jake, what's up, man?
What's up, man? What's up? It took us a little while to get started this fine evening, I would call it, not even.
Yeah, we were chit-chatting about the ASDF movies and
trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
We were making fun of some of our peers.
Yeah. We're great people.
Peers that are siblings of roommates of people. I'm trying to narrow it down so when they ever do listen,
that person knows that we're talking about them.
They know. It's not the person. It's not the roommate. It's the sibling of the roommate.
A very talented individual who does art for a specific entity.
Yeah.
Not in our state.
But I feel it necessary to say that.
Yeah, you know who you are if you're watching.
Because you guys said you wouldn't tell them for me, so I have to now.
You know they don't watch this.
The only forum that I can.
Yeah. Anyway.
This is my biggest soapbox, the 30-some people that might listen to this.
I'm the biggest
hater.
Okay? Are you okay? Do you have something you need to say?
No, I was just hating on a soapbox. I'll get off.
Hating to hate. Bro does it professionally just for the love of the game. You know?
I can't let people's heads get too big.
Right. Especially mine. That's why you're
gotta bring them down to earth.
Yeah. Gotta listen, you might host that show, but anyway. We have some breaking news. This past week was the BAFTAs. Before we get into our first segment, before we do our little micro segment, we're going to talk about some things that happened this past weekend. Because it's film related, the last big pit stop before the Oscars, but also there's some drama. And we'll chit-chat a little bit about that. Let's get started with the majority of the biggest headlines. The BAFTAs took place this past weekend, in which case, here are some of the details. We saw a real-life Paddington bear present. He looks very realistic, and I think he's adorable. I wanted to put that in there because Paddington is Paddington, and we all love Paddington. But in actual film news, Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another wins 6 awards, specifically Best Film and Best Director, as the Dailies puts it, completing a clean sweep, quote-unquote, of every major precursor leading up to the Oscars, from Gotham through the BAFTAs, as the Dailies puts it. So now we are in a position where the question is posed, is PTA in One Battle After Another just waiting for the Oscars envelope to be unveiled, right? Because if history says anything, films that do this kind of sweep where they do this well and win this many awards in the back-to-back-to-back award ceremonies leading up to the Oscar, more often than not, they're the ones who win. So in terms of Best Picture and the biggest awards the Oscars and the Academy have to offer. So anyway, food for thought. Marty Supreme goes a historic 0-11. 11 nominations, and it wins 0 at the BAFTAs. Sean Penn, going back to One Battle After Another, won Best Supporting Actor. Wunmi Masaku from Sinners won Best Supporting Actress. Jessie Buckley from Hamnet won Best Leading Actress. Robert Amario won Best Actor for his leading portrayal as John Davidson in the Tourette Syndrome advocacy biopic named I Swear, which still hasn't debuted over here in the States yet. It debuted over in the UK. That film won Robert Amario Best Actor. Let's stick with John Davidson for just a moment, because this is where the majority of the headlines are remaining from the BAFTAs in this past weekend heading into this week. The drama. The BBC did not edit this out, mind you, what I'm about to read. The real-life John Davidson, who is a real person, this is a biopic after all, he's an advocate and a public speaker for Tourette's. He himself has Tourette's syndrome. He was in attendance at the BAFTAs because the film that has his namesake, that's telling the story, chronicling the story of his life, is up for many awards. While Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo were presenting an award, Davidson shouted a certain racial slur. He was having a tic, and he said a word that was picked up by the BBC by microphones to a live broadcasted audience that was not edited out, so you could hear it pretty clearly. This understandably caused backlash. Mind you, host Alan Cummings did make note of Mr. Davidson and his tics prior to this happening. So there was an awareness that he was there and that there were things that he can't control. And we're not here to shame anybody. We're not here to be like, yada, 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 yada. But it is interesting, just in case of an unfortunate event that the BBC didn't edit this out. They didn't monitor or police their own broadcast for some reason. Jake, what do we think about the BAFTAs and this odd drama?
I think it's more odd that the BBC, in the 11 seconds or more that they have between filming and air, they didn't beep that.
Yeah.
11 seconds, I thought was, that might be me throwing out a number, but I thought that was generally probably on the fast end of how long it takes for it to go to people's TVs, and they could bleep it. They have a guy for that. Maybe that they were short-staffed. I don't know. But I find it more, I'm not going to hone in or even give an opinion on what I think about the actual thing that happened. I more care about BBC. What the heck, you know?
It's odd. And, you know, again, Davidson.
They apologized.
Davidson, right. Yes. The BBC did release a statement saying they were sorry. And Davidson's not at fault. Like, we're not blaming him. We're not going after him for something that he can't control. That's the whole point. The movie, I swear, is a thing, is to show his life dealing with that sort of thing. So we're not talking on that end because it's not his fault. It is a disability, and he has done a lot of work in his life. He has been honored and recognized by the Queen before her passing in 2018, I think, for his work in advocacy for Tourette syndrome and for people who are afflicted and affected by Tourette syndrome, right? So we're not talking anything about John Davidson other than that it happened. He himself put out a comment saying that he doesn't condone it, that he was horrified that it got out and that people were offended by it. But again, we're focusing on the BBC. Something else to mention as well, Delroy Lindo, he spoke about it, and he said the only thing he wished that would have happened afterwards was that the BBC would have talked to them about it. Apparently, to Michael B. Jordan and Lindo, there was no commentary. They did not come up to them once after this thing happened, other than when the official BBC announcement came out today saying that they handled it professionally. So take that as you will. Any final thoughts on the BBC and their lack of policing their own? This is the biggest award show they have. Like, what are they doing? Crazy.
And it's not out of the ordinary to have people cussing up a storm and committing, I don't know, slappery and her violence on award shows, you know, and like profanity, right? Like, this is not out of the ordinary for shows like this to have happenings, right? So I don't know, not on top of it. I have a hard time believing that they didn't have at least a moment of time that they could have done it, but maybe they were like, for the entire 11 seconds.
Can you imagine the guy whose job it is to do that at second 12 was like, oh no. He's like looking down at the bleep button. Yeah, everyone stun locked for however many seconds they look down. They're like, oh no. Yeah. Terrible circumstance for the BBC. That's just lack of just awareness. I don't even know how you fail that way. But anyway, we will move on.
There's one more thing about the BAFTAs. I got on here to look at their awards of the results. They have for animated film, the winner. Who do you think it was? I mean, you might know, right?
I don't, but I'm going to imagine, because of the way you're phrasing it, that it was probably something along the lines of an anime, because animes were no. Okay, so
it's completely different. It's a bunny.
It's a bunny. Oh, I don't know.
Animated film?
Bunny. I'm blanking. Go ahead. Is it Zootopia too?
Yeah. Oh. But they named it Zootropolis.
Yes. Okay, that's so funny.
What is that? Why?
Overseas, it's called something different, and like it's not called Zootopia. It's
so BAFTAs is an overseas.
Yeah.
One?
The
Sorry, I
BAFTAs
didn't know.
is the Oscars for the
Zootropolis.
UK, for the UK and for the
Gotcha.
island for
I understand now. That's why they
yeah.
had best British short film in here, short
Yes.
animation.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So overseas,
Zootropolis?
yeah, in the UK, it's not called Zootopia, it's called Zootropolis.
Wow.
Something to do with, I don't know. I to be honest with you, I used to know, I can't remember, but there's a whole ordeal.
What was the movie that flopped recently with Adam Driver?
Oh gosh.
Is it? It was the remake of the.
Yeah. It's with Francis Ford Coppola. Yeah. It's. I can't. I'm not going to be able to blank. Or I'm drawing a blank. But yes, it is something very similar to that. But that is not the reason.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. But yes, it is called Zootropolis over in overseas.
Wow.
He's doing the research. While he does that.
Megalopolis.
Yeah. We're going to go ahead and get into our first micro segment before our main segment. That is, what are we drinking? You guys ask the question. We answer the age-old question. We gather around the campfire every single week, and we drink some caffeinated beverages to get us through. So grab your beverages, gather around, comment down below what you're drinking. In the meantime, we will tell you what we're drinking. Emily joins us from behind the curtain. Emily, give us that bev.
Thanks for asking, Ryan. This week I'm drinking the same thing as usual, which is a hot hazelnut cookie black tea. Jake.
An owl.
Yeah, I was about to comment on that. Owl mug.
I'm drinking chemicals.
Does it by chance have probiotics in it?
No. Lack thereof, actually. Biotin. Chemical. Yup. No sugars. Actually, I don't know what kind of sugar it has in it. Sucralose. Let's go. Cancer.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Back to you, Ryan.
All right, reporting for the field here. I got my trusty, dusty red tumbler, and in here is normal coffee, but if you can look, it's not black. There's creamer in there. I mixed it up. Cookie dough creamer. It tastes great, and we're not just drinking straight black coffee this afternoon. And that has been
we're a bunch of sissies.
And that has been, yeah, my skin is not as brick tough. It's I got baby soft hands now. But no.
Soft hands, brother.
That has been What Are We Drinking? Thank you guys for joining us. Comment down below again what you are drinking on this fine afternoon. We would love to hear what you're partaking. And with that, we will get into our first segment of the day, which, as always, is box office news. We go over the numbers from the previous weekend. Let's go over our predictions. We enter every week going over what we predicted from last week. As you can see, I predicted Wuthering Heights at 1, GOAT at 2, How to Make a Killing starring Glenn Powell at 3, Send Help at 4, and Disney's Psycho Killer at 5. Jake predicted GOAT at 1, Wuthering Heights at 2, How to Make a Killing at 3, Psycho Killer at 4, and Send Help at 5. Let's see how we did, ladies and gentlemen. I did over. I stepped up to bat. I swung and I missed every single time. I'm going back to the dugout and I am really upset with myself. Jake, on the other hand, went 3 out of 5. Doing very well this past weekend. His call of GOAT passing Wuthering Heights, another animation sticking it in the top 5 post its first weekend, proved to be correct. Wuthering Heights still finishes second. And then Jake calling Send Help, having some legs as it sticks around in the box office after 4 weeks, coming in at 5. Usually, I would hype up the next prediction. But you know what? This is a competition. So no more love for AI, the chatbot Jimmy. Boo all around for Jimmy. Here are Jimmy's predictions. 1, he predicted I Can Only Imagine the sequel. I Can Only Imagine 2 comes in at number 1 for Jimmy. GOAT at number 2. Wuthering Heights at 3. How to Make a Killing at 4. And Crime 101 at 5. And the thing is, Jimmy did the exact same thing I did. He went 0 for 5. So on the bright side, I went to bat. I missed. I went back to the dugout and I looked up, having hope in my teammate, and he completely missed. So 0 for 2 on our end in the baseball dugout. But Jake did very well. So we're all here. We all here. And with that, let's reveal the official numbers for the box office from this past weekend. Number 1, as you heard before, is GOAT with 2. Or being Wuthering Heights. Finishing 3rd is I Can Only Imagine 2, with 4 being Crime 101, and rounding out our top 5 is Send Help. Let's go back to the very top, and let's give you those numbers, breaking down each and every top of or films in this top 5. Number 1, as we said before, is GOAT in its second weekend, earning $16.8 million domestically, with a $102.3 global tally on a $80 million budget. GOAT is proving to be successful for Sony Animation, another winner for Sony. Dropping 38%, Sony's underdog animation feature claims a top spot after great audience holdover. So again, 38%, that is a low drop in terms of standards for box office returns every week. So great job, Wuthering Heights. Great job, GOAT. Speaking of Wuthering Heights, in its second weekend, it drops to 2, earning $14 million domestically, pushing its global tally to $151.7 million, all, again, on an $80 million budget. While a 57% drop in ticket sales from its first weekend in theaters is steep for a non-horror film, the box office earnings up to this point quells any worries this film might have because it's very successful. Despite lackluster ratings, the film is still earning, and we wonder why. But the film is still very successful. The thing is, when you look at its earnings, its overseas earnings is what's pushing it. Oddly enough, $91.7 million thus far earned outside of the U.S. for Wuthering Heights. Debuting third in this top 5 is I Can Only Imagine 2, debuting to $7.7 million on an $18 million budget. The faith-based sequel is the lone newcomer in the top 5 this week at the box office. Yet, despite earning a 98% on the popcorn meter, the sequel earned less than half of what the original earned in its opening weekend, according to the dailies. Now, if you know anything about I Can Only Imagine, or you went to youth group at any point when you were a child in the 2010s or 2000s, you've heard of Mercy Me, and you know every time you say I Can Only Imagine, you can hear that rhythm in that main chorus. This is about that, Mercy Me. This is about that I Can Only Imagine. And with that, we will read the Rotten Tomatoes synopsis of the sequel, which I'm shocked a biopic about a song, about a band got a sequel. But anyway, Angel Studios said, bring it up, do it again. That synopsis, quote, after the breakout success of I Can Only Imagine, Mercy Me's Bart Millard is living the dream sold-out arenas, a devoted fan base, and a thriving career. But Bart's world begins to shift under the weight of devastating challenges, including a life-changing diagnosis for his young son, Sam. As Bart struggles to hold his family together, his wife Sharon becomes the steady anchor, caring for Sam, supporting Bart, and holding on to hope when it feels far away. When Sam and newcomer Tim Timmons join the band for their biggest tour yet, Bart must navigate the bands of fatherhood, or the demands of fatherhood and the pressures of fame, all while helping his son find the courage to swing. I cannot read today. Sing his own song. Gosh, that was a lot for Rotten Tomatoes. Anyway, Tim Timmons? What?
Hey,
His parents. Why would you do that to him?
I don't want to. How do I say this without straight doxing a fella?
Go ahead.
I work with the main character, Fairly Odd Parents.
Oh, that's awesome. That's sick. I won't. I'm
not gonna.
We'll stop there.
We'll
stop there. Yeah.
I'm not saying nothing.
Tim
But
Timmons. Can you imagine
now,
when he was a kid?
And I also work with a Tom of the, which is odd.
Yeah, that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
I guess these names are just kind of odd. Like, I guess they're more prevalent. Like, it's like Philip Phillips was a thing in music too.
Yeah.
But Tim Timmons, or even worse, when he was a kid, Timmy Timmons. Come on, man. Why are you doing this as an adult, as a parent?
I'm calling that guy Tim.
Tim. Yeah, you know that's his nickname. Double T. But yeah, anyway, it's Mercy Me. It's the story of Mercy Me, and I'm not shocked that the sequel about a biopic about a band that is very niche in its own right, as in Mercy Me, that the sequel to that film did not do very well. Still earned $7.7 million on an $18 million budget. Like, it is Angel Studios, the faith-based studio, still pulling in strong. It will be a success. They'll break even, but it's kind of a niche, to say the least. And so I'm not shocked to see it not reach its full potential, at least the potential of the original. Moving on, finishing fourth is Crime 101 from Amazon in its second week, earning $5.5 million domestically, $46.3 million globally overall on a $90 million budget. So far, we've only talked some successes. Here is again, coming into our second week, we talked last week about it, how it was kind of not doing well. Not a great look for Amazon or its spy thriller, as it will not make bank at the box office. It again will be hoping to do well when it hits streaming. And lastly, finishing fifth is Send Help, Sam Raimi's latest endeavor, into the horror genre in its fourth weekend, finding legs, which is odd for a horror film to have legs to this extent. A month in theaters, still in the top 5, earning $4.4 million domestically, pushing its global tally to $83 million and doubling its production value, which was $40 million to produce. Other notes from around the box office. The first 2 outside of the top 5 are kind of shocking. The Glenn Powell starring How to Make a Killing, which apparently bombed in terms of the reviews. No one really liked it, unfortunately, which makes a second straight Glenn Powell film to not do well after Running Man late this past year. And Baz Luhrmann is back with Elvis, the man's obsessed, as he releases an Elvis concert documentary called Epic, or Elvis Presley in Concert. The first one, How to Make a Killing, earned $3.56 million, and Elvis, or Epic, earned $3.25 million. Those are respectively. Jake, looking around that box office, what catches your eye?
I'm thinking that the Elvis, it was a limited release and it's already at 6. So not to spoil what's coming up next, but How to Make a Killing, I felt like that's why I predicted it at 3. I thought that was going to do really well, and they shortened it's not a wide.
Isn't it crazy how we talk about this every week, where we're like, yeah, this thing says wide, and it's just not.
And it still got, Elvis was 7th, but that one got 6th. But is it going to be wide next week? It didn't even say, right? Or is it?
Not a clue. I have no idea. I'm assuming not.
How to rob a bank? To Train Your Dragon?
Guys, go to Google and look up if you're really interested in robbing a bank. Go ahead. Go Google it.
There's a movie.
There'll be no written record of that. Don't worry.
Okay. It's not coming up. I have to believe that this is the wide at 1,600 theaters.
Ridiculous. Yeah. I can't. Okay. My question is, do early test screenings, does the critic response, does that impact? Do they limit it after they've said it will be wide after poor reviews because they don't think it will make it? But you've already spent the money. That makes no sense.
They've already bought the.
I just don't understand how these are so inaccurate. We have how many sources up here for this type of thing? IMDb calendar, Movie Insider, Box Office Mojo, and the calendar or the numbers.
Yeah.
And
none of them numbers.
None of them can get it right. That's ridiculous. Something's not right. Anyway, we've talked about this before. We're going to complain until it's fixed, or at least until
the numbers don't even show that coming out. Let's see. Let me check the rest of the past year. How to says wide on the 20th. So how the numbers say that was the wide.
Was 16. I guess technically 600 theaters
is
technically wide.
It's only half of as many as it could have been.
So, okay, food for thought. What do we think wide should be? We've had this conversation a little bit, but I'm curious. What do we think is a true wide release?
In this context, this movie deserved more theaters. But to be fair, this would be I would call it the bottom end of wide. Because I've seen the most amount of theaters almost in the 4,000s, I think. Low 4,000, 4,100 theaters is one of the largest openings I've seen. So to come out at 1,600 and this is an A24 Glenn Powell led film that you would expect to garner the 3,800 that GOAT has, or 3,600 that Wuthering Heights has. Even I Can Only Imagine 2 got 3,100.
Yeah.
The top 4 spots, actually 5. Send Help is in its 4th week at 2,800. The top 5 are up there at the 3,000s, and then How to Make a Killing came in 6th at half as many. So
yeah, I think that there's a third level. I think that limited is sub 1,000. I think that 600 or plus. I think that's bogus. I think that's a way that you placate smaller distribution companies so that you can say it's wide and limit them to 600 so that you can save the extra theaters for whoever. I would say limited is 1,000 or under. Between 1,000 and 2,000 is like a middle ground. That is like not wide, but it's not limited. It's like kind of like an intermediate. I would probably call it that. Like it's not wide, it's not limited, but it's not to the extent of a major motion picture, right? Like it is 1,600 theaters is not enough for a major motion picture. 2,000 and up, that's a wide release. That is a traditional, like, yes, 2,100 is kind of on the lower side, but 2,000 theaters is still 2,000 theaters. You can cover pretty thoroughly the nation with 2,000 theaters. You can't really do that with 1,500 or 1,600. Like you're missing out on some key areas if you start doing that. So I would say that there's not limited or wide. There's like a middle, but the idea that wide is above 600 is crazy to me, because how many times have we predicted a film because it says wide and it's only gotten like 1,000 theaters and it cannot compete. So
or 300 or
yeah, it's ridiculous.
Psycho Killer also debuted at 11 with 1,100,
and it technically was a wide. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I had it at 4.
Yeah, ridiculous.
And you had it at 5.
Yeah, ridiculous. Anyway, and that's just us in a very niche audience trying to predict it. But anyway, with that, we'll go ahead and get into our box offers predictions and then get you out of segment 1. Jake, you're leading us off here.
Dang it.
Go over your top
Come
5.
on, man.
What you got for next week? What you predicting for this weekend?
I got Scream 7. I'll let Ryan tell you why. I got Goat at 2. I got Wuthering Heights at 3 because everything's gonna move down. Nothing else is coming out. To my knowledge. Double check here. Oh, the Elvis one expands wide this week. Crime 101 at 4. Yeah. And then Elvis Presley at 5 because I think that expanding wide gonna go nuts. It's gonna beat out Send Help. Get it out of here. That's a horror. It's out of here. Get out of here. You know, Elvis got 3.2 million with 300 theaters. It's gonna go crazy when it expands wide. It almost beat How to Make a Killing, and it had. I mean, what is that?
1,600 is what you said.
Five times.
Yeah.
A little bit more than 5 times as many theaters, and it was $400,000 off. Yeah, $400,000 off. So I got Elvis at 5. I think it beats Send Help because Send Help's going to probably drop another 50% down to 2. And How to Make a Killing is, according to the schedule, kaput. So
they don't call him the king for nothing. I mean,
yeah.
Concert doc. I will say, I don't know what Baz Luhrmann's obsession with Elvis is. I have no clue because this is the second major thing he's done with Elvis outside of Elvis, the movie, with who was it? Austin Butler. Which the concert scenes in that movie were great. Everything else was just odd. Huh?
You like Transformers? You'd probably do Transformers if you could.
Big robot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan, given the money and the chance to do Transformers the rest of your life, would you do it?
Oh my God. I told you for those who are uninitiated, I've been watching G1 since I was 6. I have grown up watching every different morsel of creative outlet of Transformers. I haven't read the comics, which is a shame. Where I grew up, we didn't really have the money to buy comics. So I was too busy watching what I could get on my television or what we could bootleg. Anyway, the point is, my dream in life is to pen a comic run with Hasbro of Transformers. That would be that. If I ever did that, that'd be sick. I would love to pen
that's
that.
Pretty crazy.
I would love to learn how to draw just to be able to draw that, to illustrate it as well. I don't think I could ever do it, but well, maybe I shouldn't say that. I think there's a reality where it could happen. But the baseline of the dream is to write it. So when you ask that question, yes. If they ask me to be the Dave Filoni of Transformers and just fill out that lore, I'd do it in a heartbeat. You kidding me? I'd have an Autobot symbol or a Decepticon symbol T-shirt on all the time if that was what were required. I don't care what I look like. I love that IP. So I understand what you mean. But it is just funny that he's back with another Elvis project. But point taken. Yeah. With that, I'm going to hop into my top 5. Scream 7, Goat, Wuthering Heights, and Crime 101. Jake ripped my top 4 verbatim.
And then I poo-pooed on his 5.
Yeah. How dare you? First, you copied my
But
homework.
tell the audience
But
about one
yeah,
because you're
we'll
far
go
more
through Scream 7. So I'm not really gonna get too like deep into the lore of Scream because there's so many twists and turns, and like outside of like the traditional, like Wes Craven was wanting to make fun of the slasher franchise, and so he made Scream, right? Like, and so it is meta. It has its funny jokes. It has its kind of like I said, meta moments where it's like horror movie logic that they talk about and then fail to abide by, which is comedic in on its own right.
meta moments.
Yeah, meta moments, but. The
Don't
reason
give Zuckerberg any ideas.
Oh God, that's what he's gonna call. He's gonna make something separate from Facebook, and it's gonna be just scrolling reels. And he's gonna buy Be Real.
Is it moments already a thing?
I don't know. He's gonna buy Be Real and just rename it Meta Moments, and that's what it's gonna be for those who remember what Be Real, the social app, was. But anywho, Scream, I think it's just because it's got such a loyal fan base. It's returning Neve Campbell. It's returning Matthew Lillard. It's all of these different people, right? Like characters and actors that I think it will pull enough with the fan base it has. People are going to be interested to see how they move on, how the story pivots with the exit of Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega. I think that there's just enough curiosity there and fanfare and loyalty to a franchise and these characters that there will be enough buy-in week 1 to get it to where it needs to be to beat films that have been there for now going on 3 weeks. So Scream 7 at 1, Goat at 2, Wuthering Heights, Crime 101, just because everything slides down. I had Send Help staying at 5. Epic or Elvis Presley in concert. I think Jake is very, very true to form with like
Facebook had it.
With something called Moments. Oh, that's crazy.
They had a separate photo sharing app called Moments. It was shut down in 2019.
It's coming back, Meta Moments. But anyway, I don't remember Moments, but anyway.
I do. I remember it for like it was like a fever dream. I was like, what the hell is Moments?
Yeah. Send Help. I just think to be honest, like when I wrote this, I just slid everything down. I didn't really put a lot of faith into Epic, but after Jake, you make a good point. So you're probably right. And if you're wrong, it's because Epic probably went a lot higher than 5. So I think you make great points. But I have mine in my top 5. It left out. But I want to make sure that everyone knows that is a great take. With that, Jake,
Thanks.
Talk to me about Jimmy. What did the bot predict?
Old Jim Bob. He agrees. Screen 7, no brainer. He's saying 28 mil for that guy. Blow him out of the water.
Wow.
In perspective, Goat got 16.8, if you remember from Ryan's spiel. So it's gonna do awesome, and I don't think it's necessarily wrong. Scream 7 will garner a pretty good audience. So, what's odd is it's got Elvis Presley in concert at 2. And I don't think it will go that high. At 11 million, actually, I think that's, I don't know. I think that's still pretty high. I think single digits is better, because it's got it over Goat at 3. Goat at 3 at 9.8 million off of 16.8. I don't think Goat's going to fall that far.
No,
I think Goat might stay double digits is what I'm saying is like. And then Wuthering Heights, it's got it at 7.3 million at number 4, which is half of what they did. So, I mean, I think that tracks it at 4. But yeah. And then I Can Only Imagine 2 at 5 at 4.6 million, which is a pretty good drop, actually, if you're comparing. So 7.7 million down to a 4.6 is more than less than half. Less than 50%. So it has high faith in I Can Only Imagine 2, which I do not.
Yeah.
But Jimmy's all around. Scream 7, Elvis Presley, Goat, Wuthering Heights, and I Can Only Imagine 2. This is not a week that I think it's anybody's game. I don't know. I don't feel confident in mine. I don't know if Ryan feels confident in his. I definitely don't feel confident in Jimmy's. But
yeah,
it's not like, I think it's the opposite of it's anybody's game. It's like it's an evil version of anybody's game. Like nobody, like I don't think anybody's right.
Yeah.
Whereas I think a week or two ago, I was like, this could be anybody. And I think that was actually the week that Jimmy got it right.
Yeah. Jimmy is either 0 of 5 or 5 of 5. He doesn't, he either misses everything or makes everything. So
glass cannon style.
Yeah. So if the thing is, I do think that this could there's so many different directions. I do think that me and you are right with the first two at least. If anything, if something does upset after taking inventory of everything, I think Epic could come third. After looking at it, I'm not changing my prediction, but that would be the thing. If something were to upset and change, it would probably be that. After taking like the knowledge that you gave and seeing how high chat is on Epic, I don't think it'll be GOAT because I think you're exactly right. No way it's dropping 50%, but it definitely could finish third.
You're saying, I mean, it put I Can Only Imagine 2 at number 1 with GOAT and Wuthering Heights out there.
Terrible. Yeah, terrible.
So when it puts Presley at 2, I still don't believe it.
No, I really think I Can Only Imagine is going to fall so hard. Like I think this was its peak. I think this was the highest that it will go, and it will be a lot like a horror film. It only made just under 8. So if it drops 50%, there's no way it's going to beat even Send Help. Like it will. That's the level we're talking about. Is like we will be competing with a film in its 5th weekend. So yeah, I do not trust I Can Only Imagine 2. It's one of those niche films like we had talked about. It's a lot like the horror genre where it falls out very quickly after its initial debut. So don't put a lot of faith in I Can Only Imagine 2, which is why me and Jake have it out of our top 5. But again, if one's gonna bull in a china shop, our predictions, it'll be Epic after the knowledge you dropped, Jake. So again, great pick on that one. Any final thoughts on the box office before we move on?
I got nada.
Bro got nothing. And with that, we're going to go to a break. Coming up after the break, we talk about Toy Story 5, the trailer, the new looks, and so much more. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Beyond the Screen. You've made it to segment 2, which is always our major news segment, our open discussion segment. A wise man once said, "You've got a friend in me," and then a franchise was born. We are officially talking about Toy Story 5. We're going to break it down for you right now. From high-tech iPads to sappy reunions to balding toys and beyond, Disney Pixar released the official trailer for the highly anticipated Toy Story 5 this past weekend, and I was asked if we could very happily show our balding Woody before we move on. Look at this poor man. We're getting old. We're getting
After
old.
getting refurbished too.
I know. This is after refurbished. I'm pretty sure that the life out of the bedroom, of the kids' play area, whatever have you, whatever adventures they've been on, just out and about with his bandana poncho has not treated Woody very well. But all I can say is, my friend, we're getting old.
Yeah.
Woody's balding.
You know what pisses me off before we get into this is they're making fun of the poncho. And I guess we'll show you a little bit. Like he's wearing a bandana as a poncho. That's cool. He's a cowboy. I think that's cool. That's like,
Yeah.
I forget it now. Clint Eastwood, like, Another Day. No, I don't. What is it called? What are his films? He did 3 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna help me.
I like hearing your keyboard clack as well. I just like letting you look stuff up.
Dang it. Dead air.
No, it's okay.
Fistful of Dollars was one of them. Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Yeah, that was the other one. There's another one. For a few more dollars, for a few dollars more. There's another one that he did. Yeah. So that's the trilogy. That's what I was getting at with as The Good, Bad, the Ugly was the one that I was trying to get at. But ponchos are cool.
Do you know why he had that scowl on his head, like on his face in all those movies?
No.
Like how that was born? I'm pretty sure it was because he had the sun in his eyes the entire time he was shooting.
The whole
so
time?
He was
Great.
just like squinting, trying to see, and they were like, "Clint, that's genius work, man. Great way to get in the character." And he's like, "I can't see." I love that. But anyway, back to ponchos. I love the idea too that like Woody being so out of touch, he had no idea what a poncho was because he's a toy. And Bonnie was like, "You'll like this." And he's like, "Oh." Yeah, I think the joke is pretty fun, but I do understand like ponchos are cool in the right in the right context. And in this context, I think you're right. But
But
anyway,
they make fun of him for it.
they do. They
And
do.
then we even see, not in what we'll show you, but even in the full trailer, like it smacks him in the face. Like they make a joke out of wearing ponchos, and I'm like, guys, ponchos are cool.
Are you
Like,
telling
why
me
are
that if your closest friend walked in with a bandana poncho, like a full-blown bandana poncho, you wouldn't make fun of him?
in the context of toys, a bandana poncho is cool. In the context of real life, and I was in a Western and a guy walks in and his poncho is made out of bandana material, yeah, I'm clowning that guy.
Are you telling me that you don't think they see each other as the way we see each other? Like they don't see themselves as just like their friend walking in with a something he's never worn before? It's like when you try a new style and you're like, bro, they don't fit you. I think that's the joke.
I suppose, but I don't know. He had to teach them what a poncho was, I guess. So that, I mean, it does track there if they didn't know what one was. But I see it more as like it's not necessarily the material as much as it is the style and what the piece of clothing is. Because to them, like a toothpick can be a sword. Like we're on the miniature scale where it's like I'm not going to make fun of the guy for carrying a toothpick around because that's actually a weapon at my size.
But I think it's more funny because like it's Woody. He's not Clint Eastwood, and you know what I mean. Like he's the opposite of what makes that like, you know, like what makes that cool, I guess. And so I guess that's more of the joke.
But they also serve a purpose, and he is a nomad. Like
you're right. Yeah, that's a good point.
Now, like ponchos hold a purpose, whereas like these sheltered sissies, these soft hands on the inside, might not know what a poncho is because they've never had to.
Oh, I would love to hear Woody say that, like, Buzz, you got soft hands. You don't know what it's like out there. I love how this is like your big takeaway. You really got irked by that poncho comment.
Yeah, because I play Red Dead 2 and I enjoy Clint Eastwood movies where he wears a poncho. I think ponchos are cool.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's cultural appropriation that Woody's wearing a poncho.
I just think it's a funny hoo-ha-ha joke. But speaking of the trailer, in the trailer, we see the return of Buzz Lightyear, played by Tim Allen, Woody, played by Tom Hanks, as we talked about, Jessie, played by Joan Cusack, and a plethora of returning cast as they battle a new foe, a tablet named Lilypad, played by Greta Lee. After Bonnie, now portrayed by Scarlett Spears, received Lilypad as a gift from her parents, the gang, now led by Jessie, find themselves in a losing fight, not just for Bonnie's attention, but in their endeavor to help her earn friends in the real world. Stuck in a battle of threats as what we now know as Bonnie, threats to Bonnie and her attention, Jessie calls upon the only person or toy that she knows can make a difference, Woody. During their walkie-talkie conversation, Woody explains to Jessie, quote, toys are for play, but tech is for everything. Before Jessie responds, I'm losing Bonnie to this device. And that's from The Hollywood Reporter. Returning to the gang, sporting a poncho, as Jake described in depth, and a nice bald spot, as we've already seen, the rest of the trailer outlines how the toys will face their greatest challenge yet, modern-day technology. So let's take a look at what we have visually for the trailer.
There's a package for you.
Oh, thank you!
Hi there, I'm Lilypad. Let's play.
Is it as bad out there for toys as they say it is?
We're finding more abandoned toys each day.
We're down!
Tech's invaded our house, too.
I don't know, Jesse. Toys are for play, but tech is for everything.
I'm losing Bonnie to this device.
You got a friend.
Woody! Why are you wearing a dress, Woody?
It's called a poncho, Forky.
Oh, someone needs a brown marker.
Halt! Who goes there?
Whoa, whoa, whoa! I come in peace.
It's been too long, cowboy.
What are you?
Oh.
Yeah, we like some elements. I will say, what did they do to Bonnie? Like, I understand she got older and her change, so she's 8 years old now. I don't know, man. That just doesn't look. I remember that was my first thing I took away was, oh my, that's Bonnie. That's supposed to be this character. I don't know. It just feels like a completely different animation. Like, it feels like a completely different person. Even the mom, for our visual watchers on YouTube, you can kind of see her in the corner of what we have on screen. She even looks way different. I don't know. Not necessarily jiving with this whole new design for them.
Not rocking with it?
No, I just don't feel like, I don't know. It just feels odd. It's like whenever you change like an animation style in like a show you really enjoy out of nowhere, and it's just like, what are they doing? Like it's like when people talk
Shrek.
about SpongeBob nowadays, Shrek. Yeah, it's just like that's how I felt. Was like
Spit it out.
I don't know. I just don't. I'm not necessarily like the biggest fan of the new graphic. Or the new look of Bonnie or her parents. I feel like the gang looks fine.
I don't think it's that. Well, I mean, I think it all looks a little. I don't see it as better, but I think that the animation guys would be like, this is new technology. This is what we're able to do, and it's like it's smoother or whatever. You know, I don't know. It's like I like the crunchiness, but.
An excuse for a new creative direction is all that is. Like, because you're telling me with the new technology, you can't get closer to what it was before. You're telling me that your new technology just is inept to do something the old technology can do. Because then you're insinuating the old technology can do more. That is a complete just excuse. I
think it's the perception of quality is different now. I think the perception of quality is how realistic and smooth can we get it. Whereas before it was, this is revolutionary that we can have these moving 3D beings move through time by changing X and Y and Z values.
They peaked in 3 and 4. 4 didn't look like that. Emily has pulled up a graphic. Please put that up. I would love to see this in real time.
Right.
I feel like she naturally, the progression of the age of her character fit in 4, but 5, it just feels so different.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's an Elio level animation style though. Like I would 100% believe it is the I forget now what it's called. The threshold of quality, or what is considered quality now, is different, right? The actual the opinions and the what is it called? I don't know. The line. There's a line. There's a word for it. But
what we expect to be the baseline has gotten has gotten a lot higher quality.
Whether or not that is perceived quality, or if that is strictly like perception based, not necessarily quality that I can see with my eyes, but somebody's perception, perspective, or relative to quality is skewed. And apparently they're high enough up that everything animated now looks like that. Maybe it's viewers. Maybe that's what the children nowadays are viewing, and all it takes is one thing to pop off and it looks like that.
And that's why we have bean mouth epidemic. That's why we have bean mouth epidemic. And for those who don't know, Jake, explain bean mouth for those who are new. Just as quickly as you can.
Oh, fans.
He's an animator.
Basically, I'm going to draw bean mouth. There. Hold on. This is a character who is frightened.
Bean.
And it's literally just a bean where
the thing is, it's crazy how that is universal. Like we're seeing that across all, like I rewatched for our Oscars segment coming up. I rewatched K-pop Demon Hunters. That even has it in it from time to time.
Yep. Hopper.
But that's all the time. Like K-pop Demon Hunters, when they were trying to get a certain emotion, they had it, and I noticed it. But Hopper, that's all Elio. All of it. All of it. Yeah. So
I think Hopper's got the story. Maybe.
Yeah. Now with this going back to Toy Story 5, I didn't necessarily notice it as much, especially the toys don't have it at all. Like they thankfully kept their animation somewhat relative to what they were. So another thing that popped up too, and we're just talking about the aesthetic and the looks of it before we get into the actual story, because we have some further story delving that we will do from what we've seen from the trailer. Someone put a side by side of what the old ones look like and what this new one looks like. What is the number one thing they say about the color of modern day cinema?
Too saturated, I would assume.
Graded out. It looks
other way around.
Desaturated. It looks colorless. It looks lifeless. Like you look back at what films look like in the early 2000s versus now. They did it with
I thought that the animations would have been more.
Well, that's I'm getting to that point because someone made this exact point is they put together back when the Devil Wears Prada 2, when they dropped their teaser versus what the original looked like, super desaturated and gray. They put Toy Story 5 next to, I think, 3. It might have even been 4, and it looks gray. It's like, how'd they do this to an animation? How'd they do that? But they did, and it looks desaturated. And so it's like, that is my other thing, is that it noticeably does look a little colorless. Like, it looks like it's still colorful because it's an animation, right? Like, it's not like it's completely devoid of color, but it does look kind of modern day gray. So I think that's like, if I had to critique, I think the animation is odd for Bonnie. I don't know. It's like, when I first saw her, I was like, oh, that's Bonnie. Like, I know she's 8 and I know she's aged, but I don't know. It just didn't feel to me, and I'm being super picky, I know. And then beyond that, it was like, once I saw that, I was like, it is kind of gray. Like, that is the other thing. It's not as bright. But anyway, let's talk about the story. What do we think about what we're seeing from the story? The battle with technology. The modern day has finally caught up to the toys. What do we take away?
I'm interested in what they end up with to end it, I guess. Like, I am actually actively curious to the resolution of this storyline, because it was supposed to end at 3.
Yeah,
I 100% believe that. You've had this take where Toy Story 3 was it. They got given to Bonnie. Bonnie was young, and they were supposed to live the rest of their lives. And I mean, I don't even want to think about inevitably that the iPad would have came around and she would have, I don't know, grown up and like, no, that didn't happen. Like, that point in time is when that movie ended. She was young forever, playing with the toys. The end. But
yeah.
I did not care for Toy Story 4. Was not a fan of it at all. Because it felt like a cash grab. It felt like we have to bring in Bo Peep, or we have to give Woody his, love interest and reunite them, and then make him be a nomad with her, give up everything and all his friends and family, and go live with her. It was just kind of like, sure, for love, right? We can all understand that, but I don't think it was needed whatsoever.
Right. Right.
So, and then now we have 5 that's kind of telling this story is far better, I think, than 4, just from watching the trailer, because it is a real conflict in today's age, and we do see Bonnie acting just like any of the other kids that we see normally now. So I'm very curious into what it could possibly be. And also, wasn't Lotso Bear rumored to be in this movie?
You saw some clip somewhere. I don't remember seeing it in this trailer, but there was some sort of something somewhere that someone saw Lotso hugging Bear. And if he makes a return, we're already in cash grab territory.
He's gonna help. It's not like he's gonna be baddie number 2.
You guys are right. Like, he runs back. Oh,
It's more like he's going to kill the iPad.
If they bring back old Prospector Pete, like that's what that feels like to me. It's like there's no point. Like, there's no point for bringing back these old characters. You've moved on. Like, okay, you brought it up. I love how you phrased it. They had their happily ever after. I am always of the opinion it should have ended. I'm not as down on 4 as you are. I could see where Bo Peep got sold off and there was maybe an increment of story left. And so you're going to give an inch, they take a mile. They think, oh, we have something. So they make some story up. 4 is definitely a weaker story, but I do love, like, something that I did remember taking away, loving from that one, was the conflict, the inner conflict of Woody, of like, I love this person. I haven't seen this person in forever. This was literally like my wife, essentially. Here she is offering me a way out that's different from everything I've ever done. I can help more. Like, I love that. Like, but do I stick to my roots and my legacy of taking care of my child? And I think that, like, what I did enjoy was, like, it's bigger than just one child, right? I thought that was fascinating. I thought that was like, okay, fine. You give him a second happily ever after. He's flying around on a kite with Bo Peep helping toys out, and Jesse got to take lead, and Buzz got to take lead, and they got to happily ever after with Bonnie that we knew they were going to have after 3. Now this feels like the epitome of the cash grab, whereas 4, I felt like there was an increment of story. And so for me, the question that I have is, and I'll go ahead and also answer it, is do we feel like, the way I'll phrase this is, this feels like an on a dime reunion. We saw the whole farewell of Woody. You had Buzz and Jesse, and like they're like just crippled by the sadness that he's gone, but the understanding that he was going for this higher like being of life, right? This higher understanding, right? Like I get what he's doing, I get his mission, but we have ours. And so long, cowboy. I'm gonna miss you. I love you. I'm sure I'll see you again down the line. But we have our happily ever after, and you have yours, and that's okay. That is a valuable lesson to teach kids, right? That's fine. However, to then immediately in the very next one that you didn't have to do, the first thing that you do is reunite them. That feels like on a dime. That's like, oh, by the way, they get back together. That, in my mind, that takes away and undermines the entire point of 4. Everything that was set up, the entire reason that you ruined the happily ever after of a perfect film, a perfect trilogy after Toy Story 3 was in 4, and you do a great job. I'm not as low on it. I liked the whole talk box scenario, right? Like him giving up his voice box, that you know what I'm saying, the pull in the string. I like that he gave up his life, because if anything, again, the talk box was another metaphor for him giving up his way of life before. I felt like they did a very good job of bending backwards to reestablish these characters after a perfect farewell, to give them another one. And afterwards, I felt kind of satisfied. Like, sure, that was more cash grabby, but like at least it didn't undermine what came before it, and it added more. Now this feels like an undermining. This feels like, okay, what's the point of 4 if they're just going to call him whenever they want him and he just shows up? See, and I know this is for kids, but as someone who literally, this came out before I was born, I remember when Toy Story 3 was a big deal. I grew up watching Toy Story 1 and 2. I was a teenager when 4 came out. So it's like, I feel very connected to this. And it's sad. I find it kind of not upsetting, because again, like, I'm not going to lose sleep at night because Disney milked Toy Story and Woody didn't get his happily ever after that we wanted. But also, it is kind of like, what's the point at this point? You know, like what is, other than just cash grab, which is what it is. It's all money, but it is upsetting from a storytelling perspective. Money. Yeah. Yeah. And so with that, I have a follow-up question that I would love to ask you, Jake. The film is obviously depicting a dilemma that's happening, and it's an ethical dilemma, a moral dilemma amongst modern day parents with their kids. And it's talking about the role technology plays in the modern day classroom, bedroom, lives of kids under a certain age. Bonnie's 8, so she's right in the prime of that, right?
Yeah.
Do we think this film will accurately depict that?
Yeah. And from whose perspective? Right. So I think even from the trailer, I think it depicts a generalized, a very good generalized kid at 8 with an iPad. Actually, probably more well behaved than a kid with an iPad in real life. I would say that Bonnie is less, I guess, violent, or at least from the trailer, violent or opposed to authority. I think kids in real life are probably a little bit, I guess, negative on that side. Whereas I think Bonnie is, time to, like, it's enough screen time for today, and she didn't like necessarily throw a fit. She just said, okay, or she was answering, or I don't know. It seemed a little bit more polite or responsive than I think I've seen in real life, where they're either unresponsive, completely enveloped, or will throw a temper tantrum. And we might see temper tantrums in this. We just didn't see it in the trailer. So there could be a point where like Bonnie won't give it up and gets grounded or something like that.
Yeah. What I'm fascinated by is like, okay, so they're talking about behavioral, they're talking about making friends, but something too, like, what's the biggest thing going around the internet right now is that there was a study released, and Gen Z is the first generation to not be smarter than their parent, or their, not just their parents,
Alpha.
but generations before. Most headlines say Gen Z.
Alpha.
Is it changed to Alpha?
It's alpha. Gen Z is by far smarter than their parents. Gen Alpha are not smarter than their parents.
Okay, that is a key distinction because I had read not long ago they were saying Z. But
No.
even if it is alpha, the point still stands is like
I will fight for my generation.
I will fight for my generation as well, but the headlines are saying Z. Whether we want to argue it's alpha or Z, we can whatever. But the idea is like as someone like I work in higher ed, I have college level students who are working under me who are younger. So it's like the idea is in something that like I constantly share is like I feel like the reason why that might be a thing is because we're learning on technology. And what I'm curious about from like I come from a line of teachers. I would not say I'm a teacher myself. I work in higher ed and I work with students. So what I've seen is kind of relative to an educator, but not necessarily the same thing. I would love to see how they portray that. If that is something that they go after, it's like the idea of like talking about technology as like how it is impacting the life of these kids. Obviously it's a kids movie, so you can only go so far in that, but that's where my interest is like, I think that they will depict it accurately to the extent that they can. Yeah. I think there's a line that they have to stop, but I'm fascinated to see how it impacts Bonnie's life outside of social. I'm curious to see, because think about it. When we were growing up, when did we start getting handed laptops to take tests?
High school.
High school. Started asked to take our phones out to play Kahoot. High school. Now you have kids doing that in elementary school. So I'm interested to see.
Which is even worse.
Yes.
Arguably.
Very much. I'm interested to see how that will be, if at all, depicted. Because we see in the trailer what we didn't see today in our show, other kids with lily pads who are also absorbed, peer pressured, absorbed. So I'm interested in that element of it. It's like outside of just social, will there be any conversation about the learning aspect of because the thing is that like it is healthy to role play. It's healthy to have like, we talk about action figures or dolls, whatever side of the spectrum you lie on, right? It's healthy to role play those social interactions and to play with other kids. And that's not something we see very often anymore nowadays, or it's just like lesser than. So will that be depicted in this, especially from a toys perspective? I'm fascinated by that. Just as much social, but more on the educational front. Other notes sorry, go ahead. Please go ahead.
I really think that I'm stuck on the Gen Z being smarter than there is a level of kind of like those a little bit younger than I am, just right into their 20s, out of high school, in the college years during this AI thing, and the way where tech is right now, up to probably right below 30. I would say like late 20s to 20. That pocket of tech users is right at that cusp of and this all pertains of knowledge, I would say. I think back to I wasn't around, but when the internet became a thing, my parents being born in 1970 flat, having grown up in the old fashioned way, being raised by people born in the 50s, and you know what people are like who were born in the 50s, boomers. What I'm saying is boomers going to college in the 90s, learning computers when they just hit, and then writing out the rest of your years and into your retirements during this next boom of technology. I really think that my parents at one time were the smartest individuals. That generation were the smartest because they knew how to utilize the internet, build websites, could become the Elon Musks with PayPal, built PayPal when the internet hit. Like online payments were like, I don't know, like that's just one example. There were many others and now we're seeing the age of AI and the AI automation or the AI assistant and understanding how to build and code those. There's a level of this pocket of AI startups or just startups in general that will make it big. That's why I'm like, I don't know but with the kids younger than in high school right now and younger, I'm hearing awful stories, firsthand accounts of lacking. Now, are there some that are doing well and exceeding? Sure. But the vast majority can't read at their grade level or don't know how.
Struggling to write 250 or 500 word essays in one class.
Look, I didn't want to write 500 words when I was in high school.
Like same, but we did. We could. We just didn't want to. We could write 5 paragraphs in an hour. It just was painful. We didn't want to do it, but we could. We still can. And so it's like crazy to hear those stories now. And I truly believe it's because instead of writing on pen and paper, they're using computers. I think that harms reading comprehension. I think that harms your ability to remember and write at that level. So yeah, I don't know. You kids nowadays, you'll never understand. The thing is, this is what we grew up with, okay? I'm going to sound so old. When we were asked to write 5 paragraphs, in 50 to 60 minutes with pencil and paper. Ooh. You're like,
I don't think I ever had that. Maybe I did.
Oh, you lucky dog.
Yeah, I didn't do a lot of writing in high school.
Write it with hand. Write it freestyle.
I don't like. Yeah, we did a lot by hand. And I might have had to write like once or twice that length. Emily's saying that she had that in history class in college where she had to write by hand. When Chromebooks became a thing in high school, like that's when I started having to write more often. And that's why I don't necessarily remember the long form handwritten stuff. I had an AP English class that I think I had to write the biggest assignment was 900 words. And I did 700 and got a B on it and called it a day. And I don't remember if that was handwritten or not. But it was researched using a Chromebook.
Yeah.
And that's all I really remember. But what I'm saying is I come from like a small town country high school, the same as Ryan. Ryan's more Eastern, but different curriculums, different parts of the state. And I think we lucked out. I think we came right into it when our comprehension of written and physical media was high enough that we seamlessly went into it was like unlocking a superpower with digital. Whereas if you're given the ability to fly from birth, you might not think of it or take advantage, or you know what I'm saying? Whereas we knew walking the most of our life, and now we can fly.
We got the best of both worlds, as Hannah Montana once said. You know, we genuinely got the reading comprehension, we got the writing ability, I'll put it that way, the skill, and then we got the technology to bolster that. Yeah. But now it really is like, and that's again going back, like that's what this is tackling. But to what extreme, to what extent, how limited are they in their kids movie style? But yeah, I find this fascinating, just again because I come from a line of teachers and I currently work in a higher educational institution where this, like, what will we see? But yeah, anyway, any other thoughts before we get on to the last few notes?
In Fortnite.
Sorry, what?
We'll see movies being played in Fortnite, full premieres in Fortnite.
I'm not doing 35 in Fortnite. Battle Bud. Yeah. Anyway, other notes about this film. The film also stars Keanu Reeves back as Duke Kaboom, John Ratzenberger as Ham, Tony Hale as Forky, Blake Clark as Slinky Dog. Rest in peace, Ernest P. Worrell, by the way, for that one. Jeff Bergman as Mr. Potato Head. Another rip to the original. Don Rickles, Mr. Potato Head. And more. Newcomers Conan O'Brien and Ernie Hudson. Remember Ghostbusters? Remember Winston from Ghostbusters? Yeah. He's finding a voice in Toy Story 5. They find themselves within the film. Any other thoughts before we move on to segment 3?
I won't watch this in theaters, but if I get the chance and I'm not doing anything, it might be a good watch. The resolution got me wondering. I'll probably get it spoiled to me and then I won't watch it. But the resolution got my eyebrow raised.
I'm telling you, I might be in theaters for this. I won't even lie.
Oh, you're crazy.
I might
crazy, huh?
Check it out. $6 ticket on Tuesdays. Why not?
Mind you, this guy pays for his premium pass.
That's all I hear is. So what? I like going to the movies anyway. If that's all, we'll go ahead and move on out of our old man, you kids today in Toy Story 5.
Dang it.
Coming up after the break, we talk about what you should know before you go. You there. You made it to segment 3. I wanted to wake you up a little bit. Ooh, gotcha. You made it to segment 3, which is what you should know before you go. Yes, we're not doing real or fake this week. It's not gone, but we're going to repurpose it and we're going to retool it for something else. Potentially later, maybe every now and again. But if you like real or fake, don't worry. It's not gone forever. It's just we're retooling that bad boy. So this week, in weeks moving forward, what you should know is going to how we round out segment 3. But before we get into we have 10 headlines here that we're going to talk about. We want to tell you thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever you watch it, a part of your weekly routine to get your film, entertainment, news. From us, we love to just give you the headlines. We love to give you accurate information. We give you the sources, but we also love to give our opinion. We love to just yap. I genuinely love hanging out with these people every single week. And so just thank you for giving us the platform to do this and to have fun with it. We really do put a lot into the show every week. And we try to make the best show we can. So thank you so much for being here. If you have any comments, any thoughts, if we should watch something in review, if you have a disagreement with any of our takes, comment down below. Let us know because we would love to add at an audience comment section and debate with you guys as a part of our show. That'd be a lot of fun. So comment down below, like, subscribe, follow, share, especially. Everything helps. Every little thing you do does help us out a lot. Follow us on our socials at beyondthescreen.pod on Instagram and TikTok. I know I'm plugging the socials for
.pod.
Crazy. That's what I said. .pod. Did I not?
I know.
.podcast?
I know.
Yeah.
Podcast.
Yeah. I could plugged it right. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. And with that out of the way, we tell you what you should know before you go. So for those new here to segment 3, the way this works, the rest of these headlines are major headlines, but not enough necessarily to constitute an entire story out of it, right? Maybe a little bit more divulging, but we're going to go through, we're going to read the headlines, going to go through 1 through 10, talk about them a little bit as we go, but we're going to really, really hit on the ones that interest us the most. So with that out of the way, we'll start with Sinners, or the creator of Sinners, I will say. According to casting director Francine Maisler of Sinners fame, Ryan Coogler's The X-Files reboot has officially begun casting, which is exciting because if you're bringing a lot of that, they've already said they're bringing the DP from Sinners. Now you have the official casting director from Sinners going into this series that I'm so excited. I love The X-Files. I love Scully. I love Mulder, and I'm sad that they're not coming back as Duchovny and all of them. But new age, new generation, different stories. I'm really excited. I love folklore and mythology and the supernatural, so I'm really excited to see a new X-Files with Ryan Coogler. Moving on. I'm sorry I gave my opinion way too early on that one, but McKenna Grace has officially been cast as Daphne Blake in Netflix's live-action Scooby-Doo remake. Ooh. Yeah. Exciting stuff, as you can see for our visual watchers. I think she can pull it off, but we'll come back on.
Yeah,
we'll come back to this. We'll come back to this here in a minute. Fans online have officially fan cast Paul Anthony Kelly as James Gunn's Batman after seeing the actor's portrayal as John F. Kennedy Jr. in FX's Love Story. Kristen Bell has officially been announced as Amy Rose in the upcoming Sonic 4. Kane Parsons' The Backroom's first poster has officially been released. Let's just take a look at this masterpiece. Let's just take a look. Take a look at that. Kane Parsons, everybody. The Backrooms. Moving on. A Venom animated movie is in the works at Sony with Tom Hardy and Final Destination Bloodline directors Zach Lipovsky and Adam B. Stein attached. The film is also set to have a potential R rating, which is interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah. A new Evangelion, anime series has been revealed on the final day of the 30th anniversary of Evangelion Festival in Yokohama, Japan. So, Jake, I want to stop here. I've been waiting to get to this one. Give me your thoughts.
Of Evangelion?
Yeah, about the whole, a potential new series in this universe.
I have not seen the giant robot anime known as Evangelion. I'm actually surprised somebody in this room did not spare the time to watch the giant robot anime known as Evangelion. But it is quite expansive, to my knowledge. I don't know much about it, but I believe there are several different means of stories that there's a movie. I think there's a TV show. Maybe it could be 2 movies. Now there's going to be another series, is what you said. Or so it's really cool. Has a lot of memes based on it. The art style is I would attribute it to very, very 90s, very hand drawn, which it probably is.
I love that
and-
Cowboy Bebop style, dude. That look.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is a level of like, I tried to get the girlfriend into Cowboy Bebop, and she likes Cowboy Bebop. It's a little slower. So like when it gets really late, it knocks her out. I love it. I have not made it through it because I started watching it with her, and I made it to about the same point I stopped watching because I had other things to do. But Evangelion, and if you're a fan of either, you're probably going to get mad that I compared the two. But it definitely draws the creators of both of these series draw the women folk, the women characters a little bit. How do you put it?
Obscene.
Objective, obscene, or
a little bit.
It definitely
risque.
objectifies them a little bit, and that's why I'm kind of like, I don't know if I can watch Evangelion with the girlfriend.
There are so many. I'm somewhat new to the anime realm. There was like a small, when I was at like early college, like I watched all of most of Bebop. I watched some of Attack on Titan, and then I fell out of it completely. And then I didn't fall back into it until we were talking about JJK this past fall going into winter. So I'm watching JJK every week. I have since caught up on Spy Family, and I'm now watching Gachi Akuta. So I'm on the newer ones because they're so much easier to digest because they're smaller, like 24-minute episodes, very quick to get through. While we're also going through the Oscar season, we have big plans for that, so stay tuned. But I do have plans, speaking of anime, Perfect Blue, Akira, right? Evangelion, all these really, like the classics. I really do have a I just love the art, and I'm so excited to get through them. But unfortunately, no, I have not seen Evangelion. But
which I have seen Akira, and it's a toughie to wrap your mind around.
Akira. Yeah.
That was funny, and it didn't necessarily pan out that way, but yeah. I didn't expect it when I got it, and I was like, wait, what?
I've had Akira. Last thing before we move on with the rest of the what you should know. I've had Akira on my watch list for forever. Not even because I thought I'd like anime. So back in the day, anime was like, they were like animators and the artists who are making the shows or the movies. They would avoid night generally, right? Because it's harder, and those colors are very tough back in the day anyway to create. Akira, which is a kind of a cyberpunkian dystopia set mostly at night in this city, they created 100 new characters. They invented 100 new colors for this movie, for this show. So that fact just it's a cinematic, a historical cinema, right? Like it is a piece of cinema history is the word I'm going for. That is why I was so interested in it, just because it's so important to not just the art, but to cinema as a whole. I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. So I just haven't had time to watch it. But anywho, if you haven't seen Akira, go watch it. If nothing else, just to see the genius of 100 new colors brought into our world for the sake of a movie. That's crazy to me. But anyway, moving on. A new 4-part documentary dino series with narrator Morgan Freeman lands a March release date at Netflix. By the way, it's also created by Steven Spielberg, so it might be something to watch. Here we go. We have a few big ones. So that was 8. We have 9 and 10 from our big stories, and these will be ones we talk a little bit about. So forgive me, this is going to be a little bit more reading than normal, but here we go. According to Screen Rant, View International CEO Tim Richards reveals that the film industry is reportedly supporting a Paramount takeover of Warner Bros. You thought we were done. We're not. This will be a saga that never ends, and we will be here for every step of the way. Until, well, no, not if the government says no, and then Paramount will swoop in and we'll be talking about it. But anyway, supporting a Paramount takeover of Warner Brothers, stating via Deadline, quote, I think the entire industry is supporting Paramount because Netflix has been an outlier. Cinema operators worldwide have tried to work with Netflix for 15 years. unsuccessfully. Again, that is via Screen Rant. Following this, it was reported by Vulture that director James Cameron sent a letter to Senator Mike Lee, who happens to chair the Senate's Antitrust Commission, urging the government to shoot down the Netflix deal, specifically citing the promised 45-day theatrical window as having, quote, no teeth. In response, Ted Sarandos, who's co-CEO of Netflix, would describe the letter sent by Cameron to Mike Lee as a, quote, Paramount disinformation campaign while on the Town podcast, even saying that Cameron was very positive of Netflix and the release window when they talked in December. So, where do we lie? What do we think of the film industry and its more openness to a Paramount takeover than the opposite?
A few years ago, never mind. I think this has actually happened a lot. I don't love the idea of a disinformation campaign.
Yeah.
I was like, I have a few public relation classes under my belt from college. I have a minor in public relations, and I was about to say it's been a while since I've heard disinformation campaign, but that was a complete lie. It was like 2 years ago. But
our government.
one of the first guys who like created public relations, he did disinformation campaigns all the time.
Yeah.
He's sometimes regarded as probably one of the unethical PR guys, but
crazy how that works out.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was good at what he did, but he also employed disinformation campaigns too.
Well, it's the same as Pulitzer, the Pulitzer Prize. Joseph Pulitzer, the guy who's like the forefather of journalism. Yeah, he was a yellow journalist, which did the same thing. That was sensationalized.
To be innovative, you've got to
make it up.
Be evil.
Yeah. Oh, it's sad.
Doofenshmirtz. Heard of them?
Doofenshmirtz, Evil Incorporated. Party. Anyway.
He had great innators. He just wanted to take over the tri-state area.
The disinformation innator.
Yeah. So, I just think that's a interesting Paramount disinformation campaign put on by Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Or is that the
Paramount's own
Paramount's disinformation campaign? Got it.
To
so
Netflix.
Sarandos is saying that Paramount's running these.
Yes, and that they have got James Cameron in on it. I find this interesting because we had this conversation, and before I had the opinion
to pay
that
James Cameron to
right. Yeah. We had talked on the show that James Cameron will always have an opinion, but I made the point that I looked for him to actually do something about it, right? Like, this is a guy who he's talking about streamers. He's talking about, like, it needs to be in theaters, but it's like you are one of the few people outside of, like, Christopher Nolan and Steven Spielberg who actually could say something and do something and be like, Disney, if you do not release Avatar into theaters, you will not be getting 4 and 5, even if you want them, right? Which there's a whole debate of whether there even will be, but the idea is the same. Steven Spielberg, same thing. If you guys want my films, you have to release it to theaters. And the thing is, regardless of what Netflix's criteria for what goes to theaters and what doesn't, whatever that may be, they would do it. The will would bend because these creators are still around, right? If Ryan Coogler went to Warner Brothers, regardless of who owned it, and said, I will not work with you if you do not release my theaters to a long, extensive release window, they would do it because it's Ryan Coogler, right? James Cameron is definitely that. And I made the point that until he does something about it, because he's also making the money from streaming, so he's only a kind of a mouthpiece for this. This is interesting to me, right? Because he is kind of doing something about it. He's going to the senators, the chair of the Antitrust Commission, and he's saying, hey, don't do this, right? On Paramount's dime, on Paramount's behest, whatever have you, right? What interests me most, right? Where's that line? Because we've talked again. The reason why I'm kind of iffy on Paramount, and now I'm not saying it should be Netflix, I'm arguing we should most definitely have Warner Brothers be independent, and it should just be Warner Brothers. But the negative of a Paramount ownership is that you have one entity that has ties or ownership of TikTok, of CNN, of CBS News, and of all these different entities and information providers or news outlets. That is scary to me, especially when that family has connections with our government, regardless of who's in office. right? I don't care about who the president is. The fact that they have that tightness, that's what worries me. So going back here, again, the line of, do you allow the broader information landscape? It's funny they're talking about disinformation because that would be perpetuated, in my opinion, under Paramount, regardless of who's in office. Because if they're going to cater to a government, they're going to cater to all governments. It does not matter who's in power. Whoever the government is, they're going to want to be on their good graces. And then all of the owners of CBS, all of CNN, all of TikTok are just going to veer the way the government is so they can get what they want from the government, right? Which is less taxes, more money, that whole nine.
I would, I find it, if I was in the seat trying to like trust bust Netflix, I'd turn around and do the same thing to Paramount.
Yes. Yes. This is why you have antitrust, so neither of them get it.
Yeah.
Because
I don't, if you argue one, I mean, you almost have to argue the other.
Yeah.
I would prefer somebody to come out and tell the people, why is Paramount different from Netflix? If you barred Netflix and the Paramount deal goes through, there is no reason to me right now as it stands that you shouldn't also do the exact same thing to Paramount.
Yes, that is, I want that argument. I think that's perfect. I want someone to say Warner Brothers, well, not Warner Brothers, but government. Why should Warner sell to anybody?
Yeah. Or these two in particular.
Yeah. If they want to consolidate with like Neon or like, which there was a conversation about Warner Brothers buying Neon not long ago, but the idea is the same. It's like if they want to consolidate with A24, because A24 is not threatening Disney. They're not threatening Paramount, or yeah, Paramount. They're not threatening Netflix. They're not threatening Amazon. That makes sense for them because they're growing together, and then that puts them in a position to rival those, and you still have more competition. So it's interesting to see, does that mean that if James Cameron is going out on a limb and saying he's siding with one or the other, does that mean he knows something behind the scenes that it's going to one or the other regardless of what the laws are? You know? Like, that's kind of my question.
Depends on the administration and when this goes through.
Well,
it seems.
This year's very interesting. We will see. We'll be here to cover it for you. Anyway, our last what you should know. After sending out a casting notice for his upcoming project titled Killing Satoshi, it has been revealed that Doug Liman's upcoming Bitcoin biopic will use AI to, quote, adjust actors' facial expressions and, quote, generate backgrounds and scenery digitally, according to Variety and the Dailies. Meaning, the Pete Davidson and Casey Affleck starring picture will be filmed entirely on a capture stage in front of absolutely nothing. Further, according to the dailies, producer Ryan Kavanaugh talks about the project, stating, quote, we will not have an AI-generated actors that do not exist. Have any AI-generated actors that do not exist. AI is a tool we're using to make the filmmaking process more efficient while maintaining all departments, heads' jobs, all actors' jobs.
Interesting fence walking there.
Yeah, I think that is placating. I want you to give your opinion first because I've talked a lot, but I definitely think he's like, oh, no. But that's not what he's meaning. You know what I mean? Like, totally not. They're trying to save money at the end of the day. So anyway, please go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what AI they're using, but just from generating 2 memes for work, utilizing a video AI, that sucked. And they suck. Like, the backgrounds suck. And so I don't know what they're using. But they're really kicking these CGI guys out. But I don't like the facial expressions more than the backgrounds and scenery. I have read about the utilization of AI, generative AI for the green screen replacement. Like, I have been reading on that eventual takeover, and how CGI will probably become the hand-drawn side of it, where now AI is utilized, especially what we were talking about in prior episodes, where it crashed and melted computers rendering one of the movies that I don't remember which one. Was it Avatar or was it
It was Revenge of the Fallen.
Transformers. So
Devastated for those who are inclined.
I foresee that happening. I don't know about facial expressions. I need the clarification, the context, and that sense of what do you mean? Like, if you needed facial expressions, hire Jim Carrey, or are these facial expressions otherworldly and are uncanny? Like, what are we talking about adjusting facial expressions? Are we to the point that the director is so bad that he can't direct the people to express the emotions he's after? Thereafter?
Yes, you're right. We're at. Keep going.
That's it.
Okay. Preach, brother. Amen. And the Lord's kids said amen, because I'm exactly there with you. The thing is, again, going back to the CGI, that we've had that exact point on the show. AI as a tool will just replace CGI like CGI did for hand-drawn sets, painted sets, or real sets. And then, that's okay. That's not a big deal because we already do that to an extent. We just won't have the green screen. Those jobs are still there. For me, exactly what you said, it's the facial expressions, because this is how fine line I have. This is my line in the sand. You should never be open to any awards ever if you manipulated facial expressions using AI, because that is actual talent. That is your actual actor. That is a director trying to get an emotion, a human emotion. If you are too lazy to get another take and say, Pete Davidson, do this. If Doug Liman is too lazy to look at Pete Davidson or Casey Affleck and say, I want you to act this way. I need this emotion. I need this response. Like, they did this. Can you do this? And I know I'm being very basic about the direction given, but the point stands. If you cannot work your way through, and that's the art. That is the art of filmmaking. That's why you make films, is so that you can get that real, raw emotion. And if you are relying on a tool to get you that because you are either inept to do it yourself as a director, and if that's the case, you shouldn't be directing, or you can't do it as an actor, in that case, you shouldn't be acting, then what's the point? So no, if they're touching up facial expressions using AI because they could not get a certain response or a certain emotion, you have failed in every way possible as a creator, whether you're in front of the camera or behind it. And you should be barred from any awards ever. I don't care. That is my line. That is it. You can use it to help you with backgrounds. You can use it. Jake, we debated even on extending scenes. That for me kind of gets close to that, right? You can use it in the sense that CGI is used today. But beyond that, when you get into actual acting, nah. No sympathy. This is Doug Liman is getting into Darren Aronofsky territory with On This Day. This is like ridiculous. This should be no returning territory. And I like Doug Liman. I talked about Go ad nauseum during the holiday season with our like our niche Christmas films. I like Doug Liman. Ridiculous. This is just laziness. This is money saving from a corporation that has no need to save money. This is just ridiculous. And so for Ryan Kavanaugh to come out and say, oh, everyone keeps their jobs, you know that's not true. You know that it's done to save money. You know you might have your department heads, but what about the people under them? There's a reason you didn't say the departments are safe. You said the department heads, because you know what you did. So yeah, no, this is inexcusable. And how rarely do I have this opinion about AI? We've talked about AI ad nauseum. This is where I will draw the line.
No, I don't disagree. There's CGI artists being put out of a job. If that takes off, if this is done well, yeah. These people won't find work in Hollywood. They will either get with the times and continue being in Hollywood, or they'll go to game design. Probably.
If you can't get Pete Davidson to do an emotion, just bring in Tilly Norwood. Just bring in a fully AI generated actor. Just do that. At that point, just do it. Because again, for me, it defeats the art. It defeats the purpose of storytelling. The storytelling is the human emotion out of it. And if you have to synthesize that, you've lost the plot. You've completely lost the point of even making film. So yeah, I know, naive, young, whatever, not done enough. I don't care what the opinions are. Ridiculous. And I swear the rage bait, the comments on wherever this goes, TikTok will be like, could have done this in one sentence with AI. I see those all the time.
Could have summarized this.
Yeah. Could have been done in 3 seconds with AI. I know that'll pop up, but I don't care.
You know what I've done and I'm ashamed to admit it here, folks. YouTube has an AI built into their platform for videos, and there has been some flapping gums 30-minute long videos where I need an answer, and I have asked that AI in the side menu on YouTube, tell me where he gets to this point, because he didn't put chapters in it, and it will give me a timestamp linked.
But
and I clicked it and it took me there.
That's
like,
a little
it was
different
very
because
nice.
You're using the AI as the chapter tool that would have been put in anyway. I thought you were going with you asked an AI to essentially generate like a content creator like we are to tell you. I thought that's where you were going with it.
No. And it has like predetermined, and it will say like summarize this video. And I have clicked that before, and it has still given me chapters, and I'm like, that's what I want. And I go to that chapter.
That's different because we're already doing that. Like, I feel like that is fast tracking something. Yes, like if we don't have the time to make chapters on our video and you use the AI to help us because you wanted to stick around for a certain segment, and we're doing that anyway. Like that's different because it's not taking anyone's job. That's not messing up the art because the art is the video. And if you put timestamps on it or not, and you ask AI to help with timestamps, that's different. That's again, that is using a tool. That is just like everything
I'm
we
not
talked
going to
about.
say that that's not like, people aren't using it the way I am, where they're just saying summarize this video about cameras, and then it's like
why
actively,
even watch? Just go look up an article.
Why watch the
just
video?
go look up an article about it. There is someone who
how
actually.
How about just ask a chat bot, like, why'd you go to YouTube?
Right, yeah. Like just go if you're
Why did
really
you
that
start
inclined to
YouTube?
read. If you're really that inclined to read about it, there's an article about some tech guy who wrote it for some tech company. Just go there. Why do you feel like that bothers me? It's like, I'm gonna look up this YouTube video. Oh, 5 minutes. AI. And it's like, you could have done that just with the bus. Like, I did. Yeah. This is like, I feel like we are like pointing to both ends of the spectrum, and we're like, yeah. Like, that's what we're doing. Because it's like, again, using it as a timestamp finder because someone didn't have the time to put timestamps on their video. Neither here nor there. That's a tool. But, gosh, yeah, that is insane.
I find it odd that they did put that in there, though.
You know what I really
there are other options too. Like, I didn't even click. I only ever really used the summarization one, but I kind of want to run a test here just while I have y'all. Yeah, this sound effect, 5 minute, 30 seconds video. Why am I? Is there not? Yeah, ask. It's like, it's Gemini, so it's got a little star, and it's because YouTube is Google. Let's see. Summarize a video. Recommend related content. What is this they mean? I guess this is like the quotation marks. What is
add that whatever buzzword they say in the video.
How can sound design improve? ? Is this for beginners? ? Any music production tips ? Like, it's an AI off to the side of this video. It's very odd. It's like, why would you? Google, my question is, why did you do this outside of, I don't know, even summarizing the video sounds lazy.
I have no, again, I have no, there's no, this is black or white for me, right? You either do this or you don't. And if you do this, what I really hope happens, well, I should finish my thought. If you do this, Unforgiven, you should not be getting any awards for this project. If you return to not using it, and you just get the raw human emotion, whatever. But what I really hope happens, I hope they do this, and I hope we see it. And what I hope happens is whenever they used AI to change an expression that it's painfully obvious, like it looks like a bad filter, like from like Instagram or something. It's like one moment, Pete Davidson's like, and they cut away, and when they cut back, he's like, and it's like obviously a filter or whatever. Like, it just looks terrible. I hope that's what happens. I really do. I hope that this is just awful.
Brian, we've got a moment in the short film. Spoilers to anybody who's itching to watch it. We have a moment where we have nothing else, and we have to we're eating it of an emotion to a non-emotion.
Then eat it. Like, then just
Brian says eat it.
Just eat it.
Yeah. I just want to, like, this is a real world. Like, we have that problem.
Get to reshoots or just eat it. That's my, like, for us, we can't do reshoots. If that is something that, if that is one of the few things that they can knock us for, and I'm not saying it's perfect, it's going to be, it's fun that we did it. I'm just happy to have it on my portfolio. I'm happy to show people when I'm 5 to 10 years down the road and we've done this time and time and time again, that I can say, look how much we've grown, right? if that's something they're going to pick at, because there's like for half a second at the end of a take, there's an emotion that we couldn't get past. Whatever. That's the art. Anyway, we'll move on. I hope it looks like bad AI. I hope it looks like an Instagram or a Snapchat filter. I really hope it's funny and that I can make
preying
fun
on
of
the
it.
downfall of Doug
I am.
Lyman.
If this is unacceptable and inexcusable for me. So sorry, Doug Lyman. But anyway, before we let people go and get out of here, what is looking back up and down this list? Is there anything else you want to quickly comment
on? Venom animated movies, interesting, and R rating is even better. But I think the main movies were R rated because he was eating people.
Yeah.
And then Sonic 4. we got guess who's coming out the woodwork for yet another golden script.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's already tied to it.
Yeah. Did you know that they make those pretty frequently?
They must have gold to spare.
Yeah,
somebody must have a gold pen. Or a lot of money.
Or all the above.
I can't wait for the Scooby-Doo remake. I did see fake news and think it was real where Walton Goggins was Fred.
Discussing
with
fish.
McKenna Grace as Daphne, and I was like, that doesn't work. What is this? And like that's about the only way I knew it was fake was because I didn't think the casting worked and they wouldn't dare do that. And then Ryan was like, yeah, that's 100% a fake news account post. So
that's why I write the scripts, folks. I'm just kidding. Anyway,
can we have a podcast where it's just fake news?
That'd be a fun skit show, to be honest.
It's already been done.
Oh.
Joe Rogan. No, I'm kidding.
Oh. Talk about us. Anyway, the views we'd get. But anyway, yeah, going back over the things you talked about, Sony Animation W. Like we talked about it last week and we didn't quite give the hype that they deserve because we were talking about how they should just go ahead and finish the Spider-Verse trilogy. Spider-Gwen, Spider-Punk films, super excited for those. The expansion of the the Spider-Universe realm with a Venom, bringing back Tom Hardy, and Zach Lipovsky and Adam B. Stein made a banger of a horror film with Final Destination's Bloodlines, revived a dead franchise. I'm excited to see with their creative vision what they do for this. I'm excited that Tom Hardy's back because he's a guy who obviously loves and knows the character. Another Sony Animation dub. They just constantly win, and I'm very excited for this one. And then, Amy Rose, I'm shocked it took them 4 films to get to Amy. That's crazy to me with how important she is in just the regular lore and that no one threw a fit about that. But the movies are good, so no one's going to complain when you're winning. So, and then, McKenna Grace is another W for Netflix because that is she just will embody the character. I think it'll be great. But the last thing I'll talk about, Kane Parsons, The Backrooms. I look forward to this one. I'm more curious than anything. What can a 20-year-old director at A24 with a what is that style of horror called? Not just found footage, but gosh, what is that internet style of horror? I'm so mad at myself that I can't remember right now. Like analog horror. There we go. Like an analog horror film adaptation with a 20-year-old director at A24. Very, very fascinated, and the first poster looked great.
Do you see what I sent you on Facebook about we're looking at the Nikon ZR, so I'm going to get off on a tangent here, but I don't want to get off on a tangent, but it was a Nikon ZR group post I sent to Ryan, and it was just like a camera setup that they were using for a found footage short film. And I wish I knew the name, but I don't think they actually listed it because it was still in production, but it was from the perspective of a cat instead of the dog.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool. Yeah.
And he was talking about the hardships, I guess, of filming in the way a cat would both react with like the curiosity and the skittishness of a cat.
Yeah, they move quick. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just thought that was interesting in terms of a found footage reference.
Yeah. What's that film called? Do you remember that short film?
No, I sent it to you on Facebook, but I don't think he named it because it was in production.
Oh, it's in production.
Keeping it under wraps.
Yeah.
It was short film style. It's a personal project.
Be on the lookout for that. Shot with a ZR too, which is that means the color's gonna be gorgeous. So it's gonna look pretty good. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. But with that, we'll end our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here. thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys next week on another exciting episode of Beyond the Screen. Bye bye.